I'd like to call the Wisconsin Rapids Water Works and Lighting Commission meeting to order. I believe Rick Burdan is excused today. And what we need is an approval for the regular commission meeting minutes held on May 10th, 2017.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, John made the motion, Joe second. And is there any discussion, any corrections? Not, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any nays? Okay, action items. 3.1, city band concert sponsorship request.
This is the, what is this, the third or fourth year we'll be doing? It'll be the fourth year. Originally, it was brought forth by one of our commissioners to sponsor the band concert 1 a year. So for the last 4 years, we've been doing that. They're very grateful for us helping them out, and the sponsorship is $250 to sponsor one band concert. So with that, I'll try to entertain any questions or see what the commission's pleasure is.
I move for approval.
Second. Okay, John made the motion to approve, and Mike made the second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any nays? Okay. Safety Committee.
So, just a question, I see this date, do we promote that for like our thing?
We typically, band concerts, from what I understand, are pretty crowded, heavily attended anyway, but we generally show up and give out trinkets and put our sign up and all that stuff.
So on the 17th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and actually, if I interrupt, I don't think the date has been set yet because of the approval.
Oh, okay.
So it may not be the 17th, just so you know. Maybe
Okay.
It may be the next one.
But you do somehow let folks know?
Yes, yes. Yeah. We will be present there.
That smiley guy next to you, I can see he wants to put that on his Twitter and Facebook account.
We don't pay.
I kind of thought that's where you were going.
You might need a break after the last two storms rolled through. But
I thought that was amazing. But
We still got the banner, don't we?
yeah.
Any questions of the Safety Committee? Any comments? If not, line superintendent report.
so fantastic, kudos.
Yeah,
That's great.
I mean, it's just, yeah, just looking at point in this, I mean, you're talking minutes and we're talking days, you know.
Yeah, the guys worked hard.
Thank you.
How about last storm? This week, I know you had a lot of kudos for the other one, but we already had one this week again.
Yeah, this one was about the same, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe a little quicker.
There's a lot of trees again that fell.
Yeah.
Good. Good job.
We rolled down the levers. We had everybody back on, except for people that needed their services attached by electricity like 3:30 in the morning. So.
Yeah. Yeah, this one went pretty good.
Can I move on to the water department? Okay, the water department report.
This bacteria testing, when the filtration is back on, do we do that or do we have that done?
We
We take care of that in our lab.
We have a lab that's certified with the state for bacteria.
And they've been busy putting filter media in earlier this week.
The filters have all the media in right now, so they're backwashing them to level them out and separate them, and we will be sanitizing them this week, and I believe they'll be operational early next week.
And the sanitation is done with
That is done with liquid bleach.
sodium chloride.
And Dale and Todd are, as you know, are at AWWA this week, so that's why they're not here.
Any other questions? If not, the office manager's report.
We report again on the financials. And I found this 45,000 Facebook hits incredible.
Me too.
18,000 people.
Yeah.
Well, we have, roughly 15,000 meters. A lot of those are outside city limits, so.
So, yeah, but every person checked in 3 times. I don't believe it.
I think the thing I found most encouraging were the comments.
Yeah.
And they were just universally thanking the line crews.
Yeah. Very positive.
Yeah, that was great to see that kind of positive feedback.
How are you doing on the map? You still working on it?
What's that?
That map that,
outage management
Yeah.
system, where the just left got put a little bit back on the back burner, but since we have recently hired another engineer who starts Monday, that'll become a priority, and that's going to be his first project. I don't think Todd's going to assign him anything else until we get that thing up and running, and Matt will be working with him closely on that too. So.
As far as the receivables go, the 30, 60, 90, boy, it's really come down and, trending down nicely, but also trending down is the current billing. If you go back to 2014 and 2017, it looks like for every month of May, and it looks like the last couple of months that our revenue is shrinking on a monthly basis.
Well, part of that means, too, that of the current bills out there, I mean, an alternate explanation could be that a higher percentage have paid. These are current bills outstanding.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean.
But I think certainly the trend has been down in sales, Jeff.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, especially with the rate reduction we had this year. I mean, revenues are down.
And I know our costs are also going down, but it also looks like our revenue is. Are you saying because of the 5% decrease?
Right. So revenues are down, which make receivables down, but in the grand scheme of things are still trending in the right direction. I mean, as far as receivables to sales.
I guess I could explain like this year, but I just see it seems like every year we're getting less and less revenue.
We've seen
small declines every year for the last couple of years in energy usage. A lot of energy efficiency going on.
But nowhere near 25%,
No.
which this is showing.
No, the last couple of years have probably been about 1% or so.
Right.
Annually.
Right.
So they're paying earlier.
Yeah.
By and large. I mean, we have a little bit of, I think, revenue on the water side is actually probably
It's going down.
more concerning than it is right now on electric. I mean, it's declining more than actually the electric, so.
Yeah, and I see the disconnection again was in 231, it was 246 last year. I don't know, is that trending higher now?
Yeah, I mean, our numbers are certainly higher than they were if you go back 8, 10 years and look at the numbers that we were disconnecting 8, 10 years ago. We probably saw a pretty big jump probably about 5 or 6 years ago. But it's been consistently in this neighborhood the last 4 or 5 years. Our numbers have stayed fairly consistent. And again, the one thing that has really changed, and that's borne out by the receivable numbers, is the typical balance that we're disconnecting. Whereas we're probably now, the typical past due balance we're disconnecting is in the $200 to $300 range. And when you consider before an account falls into the disconnection protocol, they're 2 months, they've missed 2 due dates. That tells me that we're getting these folks, these customers, as soon as we possibly can.
Yeah, in the past, that rate was quite a bit higher than.
Yeah,
2 to 3.
we were seeing higher balances 5 or 6 years ago than we do now, for sure.
Yeah. Any other questions? If not, how about the Director of Finance report?
I'd like to hear more about these solar buyback rates and indicating this calculation will be changed. So tell us more about what's actually going to happen and how it will impact.
The calculation that Water and Light came up with and was approved by the Public Service Commission takes a look at our prior year energy and demand charges for the year from Great Lakes Utilities, and then dividing those by the total kilowatt hours purchased. So essentially taking a look at if the next kilowatt hour would be purchased during your peak demand, how much is it actually costing you at this point? And that number for 2016 that we'll use for 2017 is 6.09 cents a kilowatt hour. We looked at a couple different models. When we were coming up with this seemed equitable, it seemed fair, and it seemed easy to explain to people. You're not buying that kilowatt hour, so it's not increasing your demand, and it's one less kilowatt hour that you're purchasing at that point.
So those with the solar will be credited at that rate?
Right now, it's only going to be for the larger solar arrays over 20 kW. We are looking at changing our residential tariff too, but everybody that's currently a solar customer would have a 10-year grandfathered in at the current rates that they get, which is retail rates. And then after 10 years, they would switch to this avoided cost rate. But then any new people coming in after we make this change to our tariff would be getting that avoided cost rate.
So any new solar
would be at this avoided cost.
Okay.
It's kind of equitable for the ratepayers. For us, if we're getting the power from Great Lakes Utilities or from a solar, it should be the same cost ultimately to the customer.
Do we have any ratepayers involved in the solar?
Well, this one was only developed because we haven't had a solar installation above 20 kW yet, so we haven't had to develop our avoided cost rate. So that's why we had to get PSC approval when we did. Now, eventually, they want us charging that to all solar installations, but they recommended grandfathering the current ones in. But as adjusted any new ones, so it's basically just looking at our cost of power minus transmission, what it amounts to, in a nutshell.
We have about 12 or so solar customers.
11 residential, 15 total, 4 commercial.
Is the library still planning on going ahead with this?
Definitely sounds that way, yes.
And I know you mentioned focus on energy to do the lighting, and I think the lighting stinks in the library.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot that could be done there.
Definitely. I know we did have a meeting with that being said immediately following our solar meeting over there, is just to look at the the potential of an LED project, considering it is well dated. And to see what incentives from an energy efficiency cost savings that is there would be, it's a perfect project for the library right now. And considering they were looking at the solar project, we wanted to at least get them somewhat of a ballpark, what they were looking at there.
I guess it's the whole package too. If you're going to do that, you might as well do the focus on energy lighting projects. And maybe saying that it stinks, I think it's just old and outdated now in the library.
Most true solar installers that are very good and reputable typically will tell you to get all your energy efficiency projects out of the way first, because then you can size the solar appropriately to reduce demand.
Did I actually read that from your notes that the impact in terms of return is better?
It would be drastically better from what the economics that we received and that we worked on.
Nobody had done the economics on this project. They were charging for it without even looking to see what the economics were. So I had Jeff run a bunch of numbers, and then we farmed them out to Gary Price, who does a lot of consulting for Glue on power supply stuff. So he did an analysis on it, and so I sent that off to the mayors just so we could see it, so they knew what they were getting into. But it's significant. The PSC's watching it too, because they haven't seen one go in this big in a long time, and they don't quite understand why.
Was it River Falls? Didn't they have a
that
solar?
Still hasn't gone in yet. That was a solar array that they were basically selling to customers, and
that was the problem. They were selling it, and that's as far as they got.
Correct. It still hasn't broken ground.
Okay.
So right now, we're just getting information to the vendor, whether he's an expert and helping him get it set up. So.
Well, and in your point, if you do take care of the lighting on the inside and use focus on energy, how necessary is this? It probably even makes it less profitable for the solar. For the installation, must be
well, if they did solar after that, then they could size it appropriately and make it more economical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, but typically you try to get the energy efficient, the low-hanging fruit would pay back. And we hear there's HVAC issues there too. So, I mean, both those projects offer large focus incentives, where focus isn't giving any incentives to solar right now. Or very minimal. And then you size the solar with your new KW load.
Right. So the mayor has the numbers and knows that.
Correct.
Any other questions? Been all over, I forget who I'm talking to. Information Systems Administrator. Any questions for Matt?
You got a battery charger for mine?
If not, let's go to the Conservation Manager's report.
This, well, we already talked about the lighting situation, so I think it's good that you brought forward the numbers for the return and made it known that it's probably a more valuable approach. Also on this Washington School presentation, I guess my question is, What about the other schools? It sounds like this would be very valuable for all the schools.
It would be. I know we have a tendency to get, I don't know, with Power Town, what is it, about 2-3 schools a year? Yeah. And with the National Theater for Children, I suppose they did get some energy efficiency looks on the conservation side of the things with that. So maybe it was slightly down this year with our presentations there, but usually we, with the Meade School that we attended, the reality check, we probably visit 3-4 schools a year.
And is the limitation, you're not invited or you're not available?
If they ask, we're always available.
Okay. All right.
I can inject something there, John. They do a good job of showing up. And senior citizens were just complaining about things. So I lined up for them to come over. Nobody showed up. Not one person. So I learned to turn a deaf ear on complaints.
Want me to learn something?
I felt sorry for these guys,
But I think I think it's great that we do it, and I'm glad to hear your answer that it's not our limitation, it's the schools are not asking. We should encourage it, though. It's good information for the kids.
Anything else? If not, the Director of Engineering, Electric Operations.
This deal with the hospital automatic transfer, that's really not, it's not ours, right? Is G&W's responsible?
Well,
Someone
it's
else?
G&W's equipment, and they're helping us install it. It's their piece of equipment that failed. Right.
They bought it, we maintain it.
Right.
Okay,
It's our equipment to maintain.
okay. But the failure was the original design, or?
Yep, software failure, really, I guess.
Okay.
And now we're having issues with the motor. Did the hospital originally bought that switch, didn't
They
they?
bought it.
I mean, that was before my time.
Yeah, they initially bought it with the understanding that we would maintain it going forward.
Well, we're having issues with the motor on the thing now. That's burning up after one switch. So we're looking at a different piece of equipment for next year, potentially moving away from G&H and going to S&C switchgear, which most of our stuff is S&C. So you may hear more on that next year's budget, I guess, on whether we opt to put this in for the hospital or try to get them to, in my mind, it might be something we would want to pay for, but we can talk about it at budget time.
The expensive piece of equipment.
Yes, because it senses power from bidirectional and about 125, 150 grand switch itself. Yeah.
Is that the switch we're going from one end of power, when we lose on one?
They're
end?
fed from one direction. If we lose power from that direction, it switches to the other. So they're fed with two separate circuits.
I see.
Are we doing anything about the bike path lighting?
We're in a regroup mode on that. We thought Van Aert would be able to do it a little less expensive than us, but they weren't. I mean, the pricing was pretty much the same. So I think Todd's still been working with that committee to see what other options are. The other options we're looking at is not having the lights as close together, spreading them out at first to kind of spread the costs on. I won't go for there. I may be coming to you eventually down the road to see if we can't dedicate some line work to it to help them along. So it's kind of in flux yet.
The 225 sounds pretty excessive.
But it's all the wiring.
I think it's 1.2 miles. And there is a section that where the road gets close to the river and there's street lighting, and I think you have new street lights there. That would probably eliminate a couple lights through that area.
especially if you have the new LEDs.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it would all be LED, the whole project.
Yeah, it would be. Just a matter of getting it to a point where it's presentable, where we have viable options. They had talked about going back and putting in the solar, so I don't know if they're gonna go that route or not, but.
So that's pretty, is that usually the problem with these things in our part of the
Country?
country?
Yeah.
With,
Unless
can't get the right angle?
the city wants to have their guys cleaning off snow off the top of all the lights every snowstorm or when it settles, and Todd's even saying the tilt of it for winter sun isn't adequate to catch the sun either, so.
All these projects are for 150 feet.
Any other questions? How about the general manager's report?
What was it that AT&T was trying to accomplish?
They still are. I mean, the bill hasn't been passed out of committee, but it hasn't been voted on. They were trying to limit pole connections to some ridiculously low price, like 10 or 12 bucks a pole connection. And then they've got a new piece of equipment that they're starting to put in, which are these Wi-Fi attachments to our poles, which take up much more space than a normal connection. And those were the two main things. But they've been taken out of the bill from what we understand, and that the PSC is going to be the determining factor if they want to challenge. I mean, our pole attachments are what, 19, 20 bucks generally a pole attachment, but we got some unis like Akana that are charging 50 bucks a pole attachment, which to me is a little high. So we'll see where the bill goes, but I mean, if they're going to want, our point is, from a municipal standpoint, if they're going to want more of our pole with this Wi-Fi stuff, then they need to pay more.
Right.
Because the fees and the maintenance and everything that's been developed to this point has just been one attachment.
Right.
Is this just AT&T, or does everybody want to go that route?
Right now, it's more being driven by AT&T.
I mean, as far as the Wi-Fi attachment, that's going to take up more room. Is that everybody?
Well, I'm not sure who from a technology basis is looking at that now in the state. We know AT&T is. I know we haven't heard anything from Solaris or Charter about it. So.
I would think Charter would follow suit for sure.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. I'll let you know as the bill starts to unfold, but at least from what we're hearing from our lobbyists and MUW, that we're fairly well protected if it passes the way it is.
Like, I take it they're going to do something. If some people have 50 and some people have 10, and they want 10, and, you know, usually that's where legislature steps in and decides to make a call.
Or they punt to the PSC, which is
Yeah, right.
Well, that Wi-Fi, now that would be communications, which is a different height on the pole.
Correct, it's up higher.
So now you gotta,
In some instances, they want to be on top of us, which will never happen.
oh, no.
Yeah, you run into you have to maintain the same clearance, so if they need more room, then we have to set taller poles is what it comes down to.
Yeah. And we'll never get our money back from the front end of putting that pole in at 20 bucks a month. So it's an important bill.
So the $50 charge might not be out of line if we could say that.
Yeah, if this happens, yeah, it probably isn't too out of whack. I know, we won that battle. Remember, Oconomowoc was getting sued a few years back, but that was more on, they sued about the charges, but the whole suit was more about timing, because they were putting a lot of their stuff underground, and the cable company was staying on their poles for months and months, sometimes years, before they would bury the cable. But then costs got dragged into the equation when they fought that, and we ended up winning it at PSC. So. And that was Time Warner, so that was big time money too.
If there's nothing else for Jim, review of accounts payable.
This road for west sub-access, what's the deal there?
We had to build the road in to the west substation for that new transformer that we set there, so they could get the crane in.
Okay.
They would have sunken into the muck.
So it's just because of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we'll use the road in the future too as another access point. We'll probably put a gate in next year, so we'll have 2 gates to the sub instead of 1. But yeah, they had to get in there in order to set the transformer with the crane.
And there's an engineering assist for the subbreaker. We talked about that, but then there's another line item that says assist on subbreaker. What is that?
I believe those are this, I mean, are those both the Crozy, or are they, I'm trying to find the second one.
Energis is one of them, and
So Energis is doing the actual work.
Crosby subs to Energis then, for the physical work, right?
Yeah, so Crozy's doing the engineering, and then Energis is doing the actual work on the breakers.
okay.
Energis has been doing our sub work for several years now.
Anything else? If not, I would like a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
Okay, Joe made the motion, John second. All in agreement?
Aye.
Okay, thank